Well, welcome to another chat with Tim. We're doing a little mini series on boundaries, and really what I'm focusing on is many people from complex trauma begin to realize that boundaries are set in order to provide safety, and they're based on your needs, they're based on what is healthy. In other words, they're based on understanding what your needs are and understanding what your values are. And many people from complex trauma don't know what their needs are because they've suppressed them for so long, and we looked at that last time. But they also don't know what their values are. They don't know what are the ingredients of a healthy life. And so where to set boundaries is something that really is a challenge to them. And so I want to just talk today about understanding values. What are values? How can I tell what my existing values are? How can I learn what healthy values are? Because then I'll know where to set boundaries in my life, because I want boundaries to be consistent with my values. And so values are really chosen life directions. So they're not goals or achievements. So let's say a goal is I want to get married, but really the value underneath that is to be in a relationship where there's mutual love and support. That's an important value in life. Being with somebody that there's authenticity, intimacy, safety, we're equals, we learn to love. All of that is a great value and therefore creates the goal. I want to get married. So the value is that core underlying principle, standard of behavior that I want to live by, that will lead to a good life, that will lead to true success, true happiness. It's about how I want to show up in life. The qualities that I want to embody, they're not imposed on us, though others might try to impose their values on us, but we get to choose the values that we want to live by. So, having said that, it's really important to understand that there's healthy values and unhealthy values. So a lot of people live by values that are really based on the wrong recipe for happiness and success. So they think I got to be a certain way, then I'll be successful. I got to be a certain way, then I'll be happy. But it's all a misunderstanding of what creates true happiness and success. So they then value workaholism. They then value not connecting with anybody, etc. And so they have all the wrong values, but they think they have the right values because they think it's going to lead to success and happiness. What is important to realize is that when you have unhealthy values, they often give short-term pleasure. They give short-term good results, short-term safety. So they look and feel like the right things, but long-term, they lead to negative consequences. They don't lead to healthy relationships. They slowly erode you and lead to burnout and other problems. And so you have to think of the values in terms of long-term consequences, not short-term pleasure kind of accomplishments, etc. So the second thing that's important to understand is that complex trauma results in typically values that are based on survival, not on love. They enable you to survive, so you value the things that enable you to survive because you have to. But they don't lead to true love and healthy life. And so people coming out of complex trauma have a very sophisticated value system, but it's all geared around survival. And it doesn't lead to true happiness, true love, true success, good relationships. So here's a little chart that shows kind of survival values versus safety values. So a person in survival has to have these values to survive. A person in safety can have a different set of values, and it will lead to love and healthiness. So in survival, I have to value power, no weakness at all, because then I will get hurt. Whereas in safety, I value love. And that means I can be vulnerable. That means I can be open up. I can admit failure. I can show very vulnerable emotions that appear weak. That leads to healthy relationships. in survival, I have to basically value, don't connect with people. Because if you connect with people, you start to care about them, then you get hurt, you get betrayed, you get let down. And so no connection becomes a value. In a safe environment where there's love, the value is connection. In survival, a value becomes deception, manipulation. You got to lie. You can't be totally upfront. You got to have hidden agendas. All of that is how you stay safe. All of that is how you get your own way and get your needs met. In a safe environment where there's love, honesty, openness is the value. In survival, never be vulnerable. Being vulnerable opens yourself up to all kinds of being hurt. In safety, love, be vulnerable. That's a high value. In a survival environment, the value is basically then become narcissistic. Make life about you. Get what you want. Erase any guilt. Erase any empathy, compassion for others. Use people. All of those are narcissistic traits, and that's the value system that comes out of survival. Whereas in a safe, loving environment, the value is humility. I'm an equal. I'm not less than. I'm not greater than. I can admit when I'm wrong. I always want to learn. I want to be open. So what I want you to see is complex trauma gives people a value system that kept them safe, but it doesn't lead to healthy relationships, to true happiness. It leads in adult life to all kinds of different problems. So one other piece I want to add, and that is to understand there's a difference between your values and your feelings. Because a lot of people want to think that values are something that are going to make them feel good. Often when you have good values, like loving people, like honesty, they can lead to pain. They don't make you feel good in some situations. They often involve sacrifice, discomfort, being hurt by others. So values don't equate with just positive emotions. That's what I want you to see. So think of a person who stands up for fairness and justice. Well, that might create great anxiety in them. They might get persecuted by others. But fairness is a core value. Justice is a core value, but it then leads to persecution as well. And so understand that values give meaning to life, but they can make life painful at times. Because we live in a world that's all about survival and the values of survival. And if we want to live by the values of love, we're going to go in opposition to what the world's value system is, and they're not going to like it. And they're going to see us as the problem, as the bad guy. They're going to persecute us, ostracize us, all of that. So again, understand that there's kind of two value systems in the world. A survival value system, which isn't healthy, but it lets people survive. And the love value system that comes out of safety. And it leads to true happiness and success. Those two are in opposition. And so part of what you're living with in recovery is, I am going to choose a healthy value system. Whereas my family might have a survival value system, my culture might have a survival value system, and I'm going to continue to choose a healthy value system even though it goes against, and even though it results in opposition and persecution from those that I love and care about. So how do you discover your existing values? Because a lot of people go, I really don't know how to put into words what I value. I don't even know what I value. So let me give you 5 questions that you can ask yourself. What do you spend your time and energy on? So outside of the requirements of your job, when you have free time, what do you spend your time and energy on? And then let me look at your bank account. What do you spend your money on? When you have free cash, when you're looking to invest, what is it that you spend your money on? That reveals a lot about what you value. When have you felt proud of yourself recently? So what you did that caused you to feel pride is shows you something that you value. And then when do you defend or protect when it's challenged? So when you see racism or injustice or somebody being bullied or somebody being cruel to somebody, does that cause you to get very upset? That reveals what you value. Who do you admire and what qualities of that person cause you to admire them, really matter to you? That reveals what you value. So how do we go about discovering healthy values, what we should be? Because some of the things we might admire about others might actually be unhealthy. So again, a series of questions. What do you want your life to stand for? So just take us some time to piece of paper, write down, what do you want your life to stand for? If you could watch your own funeral, what would you hope people would say about how you lived? Now, most people, if it was your own funeral, you wouldn't care that people said, oh, they made millions of dollars, they were a party animal. You would care they loved their kids, they were fair, they respected people. What is it that you would want people to say about you at the end of your life? When you're at your best, when you're really making a difference in a positive way, what qualities are you expressing? And in what areas of life do you feel most alive, moved, or inspired? So if you're just vegging in front of the TV versus serving at helping somebody who's less fortunate than you, do you feel a difference? That should point to kind of some healthy values. So these questions are really kind of, again, to help you get past just thinking about this, to actually getting to the heart of what a value is. And then kind of go into the different domains of life. So when you think of relationships, what makes a healthy relationship? What do you want in a relationship with your partner, with your children? Usually it's, I want kindness, I want honesty, I want loyalty, I want respect. Those become, okay, those are values of love. That's what love looks like. Okay, how about work and education? Well, I want to be a hard worker. I want to continue to grow and develop. I want to be creative. I want to contribute to help others. Those are the values. Okay, how about your own health and self-care? Well, I want to become disciplined in my self-care habits of eating and sleeping and exercise and working and resting in balance. So those are all values. Okay, how about personal growth? Well, I want to try new things, be curious, continue to learn. I want to have self-compassion. I want to develop a spirituality that is meaningful to me. Those are values. Okay, how about your community and the environment? I want to serve. I want to make a difference. I want to make this world a better place for my children and grandchildren. And so when you begin to see all the values you want to have in each of these domains, it helps you begin to get to the point where you go, this is where I want to invest my energy. This is what I want my life to be about. So one other exercise that some people do, and we kind of referred to it, but it's looking at your heroes and basically thinking of 2 or 3 people that you admire. So they could be real, they could be fictional, living, dead, doesn't matter. But what qualities of behavior do you respect most in them? So if I were to live more like that person, how would my life be different? What would I do differently? And so it's not somebody necessarily that's a billionaire that was, when you look at it now, they weren't healthy even though they appeared very successful. It's somebody that really made a difference and touched your life in a very positive, healthy way. What are the qualities they had? What would that mean in my life? So having done all of that, it's important to make a distinction between true values and the shoulds of certain cultures, because many cultures say you should do this, you should do that, and a should then to them is a value, and they try to impose that on you. So when you kind of think of values, go, okay, am I saying this should be a value to me because somebody else had it as a should? Or is this actually healthy? Is this actually something that's going to make positive growth in my life and in my relationships? Then you're taking all of this value stuff and going, okay, now this is going to guide me into how I want to live. So now I am going to make decisions about how I'm going to act. So if these are my values, then I need to change over here. I need to start doing this. I need to get involved in this. I need to stop doing this kind of stuff. So the values then lead to changes in behavior, changes in life direction. So many treatment programs today just try to get you to make changes without helping you see there's a values core issue that has to be looked at. And if your values are still in survival mode, you can try to make changes all you want, but you're still going to go back to behaviors that are in line with your survival values. So until you get healthy values, changes won't stick. Once you get healthy values, then you got to translate them into what does that mean day by day. So that then means once I figure out what I need to do, what needs to change, those become boundaries for yourself, for your relationships, for all that you do. Boundaries then come out of these values. So this is an important exercise. For many people, it might feel kind of, what's the point? I don't get it totally. It just seems academic. But you're living by a set of values, whether you realize it or not. It could be healthy or unhealthy. And if it's unhealthy, it is going to lead you ultimately to problems. And so to really do some careful introspection here and begin to understand the values that you live by, to see if they're healthy or not, to work towards healthy is so important. It makes a huge difference in one's life. So again, I hope this is helpful to you. If it was, please like, subscribe, share, comment. We appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you.